All right, and we are live.
Regionfree makes my nipples hard. So let's go.
Return to London After Midnight on WTSF.
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about it a lot. I just wanted to hear your voice. You know what today is, right? I can't stop thinking about it. About what happened. And to his face. It was just a prank. I didn't mean for that to happen. It's been 5 years.
Greetings, I guess, since Lauren's not here. I'm Flesh Wound Dan, joined by Sam.
I'm glad that I was muted that whole time I was holding my finger guns, because damn, I was swearing a lot.
That's okay. There's no rules. There's no rules. He's not here. He's
It's
stuck in
Calvin
traffic. There you go. There you go. And we're also joined by Mike, the real Pip Beetle.
Am I muted or am I coming through loud and clear?
You're loud and clear. You're loud and
Thank
clear.
God for that. Thank God for that.
And we're also joined by Stone Gassman.
Yeah, my nipples are definitely hard for tonight's show.
There you go. So, guys, how did I do? Did you see us in between there?
Yeah. I
Okay, I
did.
know. Okay, I couldn't
I
tell.
don't know about the live chat, but I did.
Yeah, live chat. Did you guys see us? Because, yeah, maybe that's a thing. I don't know. We'll ask Lauren. I was like, because you have to hit them each one by one. And I was
feel
like,
like you should just be able to press them like boop, 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 and they should all terminate in sequence. But I don't know because I never used StreamYard enough because I thought,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, what, like 2 or 3 episodes in on Dead End Drive-In, and Lauren's still, like, he's tried. I'm still confused, but maybe a little less confused after this. So yeah. How is everybody doing tonight?
I've been busy and I'm full of noodles.
That's not a bad thing, being.
No, I made stir fry, so like right before we came on.
I'm on a diet. I had healthy stir fry today, so
there's no such thing.
That's true, I guess. But it was vegetables. It was green shit, Sam. It's thinking it's nice. But how about you, Mike? How are you doing? I know it's late there.
It's very late. I've done a lot tonight. I've actually been what you would call downtown, what I would call into town. It's varies from country to country, but being downtown, seeing a band, not drinking, so I could drive. Drove in, drove out, back home, ready for this stream. So
nice. And Stone, what are you doing down there in the city that never sleeps?
Oh, well, it's finally warmed up here. I mean, we had a lot of rain this week. I mean, of course, we've had some weather issues and everything, but yeah, I think finally the cold is behind us. I think the winter is finally behind us. So.
Well, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Mhm.
So Lorne's not going to be long. He is going to be on this show. So I know I don't want to do what we planned first until he's here. So I'll tell you what, as dangerous as this is, chat, do you have any questions for us tonight? Because we've got a getting to know you segment. So, within reason, chat.
Mhm.
Feel free to
I don't
ask
know.
your questions.
I'm kind of an open book. I'll answer mostly everything. Mostly.
Oh, all right. So that'll be our unplanned topic. If chat, what questions do you have? I see you there, Orc. You know our pizza toppings, though. You've asked that many a time, so I think you know that by memory. Jalapenos and onions for me.
That's solid. Jalapenos, chicken, and pineapple.
Oh, together?
That's-
I don't know.
I'm down for that.
It's the sweet and the spicy.
Yeah, that's Stranger Things pizza that they sell at Walmart. The pineapple jalapeno is good. I
Oh,
don't know that I throw onions in there too for some reason. I don't know, but that's good stuff.
I'd
How
go.
about you, Mike?
Well, there's always this endless debate, isn't there? Pineapple on pizza, yes or no? I'm always yes for pineapple on pizza. So
Yes, I'm yes for that too.
absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
there's worse things you can put. I mean, anchovies on pizza.
Oof.
That's worse than pineapple, in my opinion. But that seems to be
I don't
acceptable.
mind anchovies. I don't
I-
mind anchovies.
I've never had anchovies on pizza. I've had sardines by themselves.
Ah.
So, I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea. I don't like black
Mhm.
olives, though. Black olives are just a no-go for me, and it's only because it's a texture thing, and it's just what is this little piece of rubber?
Yeah, I've always been a mushroom man. I mean, maybe for me it's just pepperoni and mushroom typically, but yeah, I've always had a soft spot for mushrooms.
Same.
I know you have good pizza in your neck of the woods, Stone. Mike, how's the pizza down there in the UK? I guess you wouldn't know necessarily. You couldn't compare it, but good pizza. Oh, technical difficulties.
Oh,
That's fine.
I know they got good fish and chips.
Well,
That
Ghost,
is yes.
Daily
fun.
Ghost has a question. Unless you want
Oh.
to save those for later.
Oh, hold on, we got another person joining us. What up,
Hey!
Jonathan?
Hey, just in the nick of time, right?
Yeah,
Awesome,
Lorne's
welcome.
Hey,
this is like the first time ever Lorne's late. Daily Ghost asked, when is the last time each of you had a debilitating stomach bug? I asked because that was my week.
Sorry, Ghost. That sucks.
I guess when I had food poisoning, and it was because of a Reuben sandwich at a diner.
oh man,
Oh.
Reuben may be the ultimate sandwich, though. Side note.
Didn't eat one again for a very long time. I was on a trip to Hershey Park, and I was just exorcist vomiting in the car. So,
In the car? Did you have to stop the car?
I stopped the car plenty of times, but food poisoning, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So,
Ugh.
yeah, that was the worst.
I
I have
know.
this. Go ahead.
No, please. I already talked too much as it is.
I was gonna say I have this weird syndrome when I puke, my legs give out. So
Ooh.
as soon as I'm done puking, I just kind of hit the floor. So yeah, it's been a while, but yeah, I had food poisoning around the time I moved in here. It was about
shit.
9 years ago, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I'm downstairs getting a drink or whatever, and you getting that, you feel it when it's getting ready to happen. Your stomach turns, legs start shaking, and you just feel it going. But I just puked exorcist vomit. I was on the way to the bathroom and hit the corner to turn into it and just painted the bathroom. It was blood too. I was puking blood. It was just it just looked like, oh my god, it was terrible.
Oof.
Yeah. But anyways,
Lorne
so
Dixon.
that and then floor immediately.
Lauren's in traffic. They're talking vomit it right now.
He's trying to get back as fast as possible.
He's like, "Oh my god, this is going to turn into a wrestling podcast at any minute now."
We'll give you 5 minutes, Lauren, and then we're just gonna start.
Then we're going to
We're
recap
just gonna-
SmackDown.
We're gonna recap SmackDown, brawl out. It's just gonna be. It's just gonna be all wrestling.
We'll give our
all
opinions on the Bucks.
Tag team.
I know.
So I was
go
going to
for
ask.
it, Mike.
I was going to. Well, obviously, Dan, you're like obviously the big. I mean, I've dipped in and out of wrestling since the 90s. I was a big fan in the 90s. I've kind of dipped in and out since, but it really feels like the WWE, especially now with Triple H in full control.
It may be the best it's ever been.
Feels like it feels like it's gaining momentum now to a point where it just didn't 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, the WWE YouTube channel's just at 100 million subs. It's only like the 6th, I think, channel. And forget T-Series, which is like just a joke YouTube channel that doesn't even count.
Mhm.
You know, it's like it feels like it's gaining. Something's happening with WWE, which hasn't maybe happened since. Well, I don't know, for a long time.
We talked about it a lot, Mike, and you know, everybody wants to say, "Oh, it's the best since the Attitude Era," but you know what? The Attitude Era wasn't. If you go back and watch it, it wasn't, you know, top to bottom great.
Yeah.
This is. I mean, we're filling out entire 2-day Mania cards with bangers.
Yeah, and we're also not reeking of desperation in some of the gimmicks that we're having to do, and the women don't have to do constant lingerie matches anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everybody, I feel like there's 1,000 different ways you can go with everyone, and I'd be happy with any of those. You know, I mean, who's going to take on Cody, right? I don't care, but it's going to be good because we have about 10 guys there that could get the job done.
Yeah, there's literally mainstream news organizations in the UK who report on WWE in a very serious sort of like non-judgmental way, whereas 10-15 years ago it would have been done slightly tongue-in-cheek. Like they know it's scripted, but they treat them like they are real athletes.
They are real athletes.
They are, yeah. That shit.
And let me tell you something, Mike. The UK is a hot spot for everything wrestling right now. Like every wrestling YouTuber I watch is from the UK.
I mean, Stunned by Wrestling. If you're not subscribed to Stunned by Wrestling, fantastic YouTuber, man. I love it.
Of course, Cultaholic and What Culture.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah.
Hey, Dan. Dan, can you tell us about your Night at the Roxbury gimmick?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I've got questions later too, because we're gonna have a Q&A. But yeah, I did a Night at the Roxbury gimmick, usually tag team. And yeah, we would like just hump the referee back and forth like a pinball and you know, come out, baby, don't hurt me. Just imagine me, no beard, long hair, in that sort of burgundy thing that they wore. Exactly. I thought it was pretty fun. We would probably be AEW tag team champions if we had gone on. So yeah, I did that. I did primetime DJ Schein. Lots of weird gimmicks. So
that sounds amazing, no lie. How long did you wrestle?
Well, some of this was like I trained. I did the backyard stuff. Although I say backyard, I mean, a lot of the guys were either training or partially trained. If you've ever been to that type of show, you kind of can picture it. So yeah, training off and on for a few years. I did the backyard stuff for a long time, though. So I couldn't even say exactly. Probably a lot longer than a grown man should. So yes.
Was that when backyard wrestling was really hot, or was like?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, late 90s.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
okay, prime time then. Yeah.
Yeah, probably earlier than that, really. But I was trying to do it legit, had the gear, had spent a lot of money on that, and yeah.
I
That's
miss
how it
when you
was
used
for
to
me.
go outside with your buddies and try to kill each other on a trampoline.
Yes.
All right, now I'm gonna do the swanton bomb on you. Don't move.
Oh my god.
Don't move.
We didn't use a trampoline really. I can remember because I don't know, that just always felt lame. And I remember one kid hurting himself.
Some of us weren't
pretty
trying to
bad.
Some of us weren't trying to jump on a light tube. Some of us
Oh,
wanted to be
yeah,
a proper,
that's the one.
intercontinental champion. Yeah.
It just I can picture like an 8-year-old Jonathan. It's just like your technique is shit. There's no psychology whatsoever. You don't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch.
Oh, touche.
So yeah, that's it. Sam, how about you? And you were properly trained. Well, I guess I was too, but
I was the drizzling shits. Jonathan, what is that? What belt is that?
That is the light heavyweight championship.
Damn.
Because I'm short, and I was short growing up, and I was like, they'll never fucking book me as a fucking heavyweight champ. So my dream was to be cruiserweight champ or light heavyweight champ.
No, see, you could be heavyweight champ. You just have to get it. If you're short, you just have to get really wide.
Last guy that did that, last guy who was 5'8" and got big enough to be world champ, killed his family.
Yeah.
Well,
let's
fair.
not do that again.
Is that why champions have to be 6 foot tall, 6 foot or more?
I don't know. Most of those guys, I think there's some people that lie about being 6 foot. I think there's a lot of 5'10" running around out there.
Was Benoit only 5'8"? Fucking hell.
He's only 5. That's how tall I am. 5'8". He might have been 5'9".
I thought Benoit was
short.
I thought Benoit was like 6 foot. I thought Benoit was like 6 foot.
It feels that way.
I guess when
he was just
so
roided
big.
out.
Eddie, I think, was right.
But I think when you're watching it as a kid growing up, or even when you're in your 20s, whatever, because they exaggerate everything by 3 to 4 inches. So Undertaker was 6'10" as a kid. He's probably like 6'8". And they tried to advertise Hogan, prime Hogan as 6'8". Hogan was never 6'8". Surely.
No, but Hogan was a big dude. Hogan may have been a legit 6'6", 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah, but 6'8", that's like something. That's something else. I mean,
6'8" is when it becomes 6'8" is when you're like, God damn, you're tall. Like it's like not. It's not, Sam's husband tall. Like, where I'd have to talk to him with like me and him to talk and hang out. We'd have to have the Dixie cup and a string thing,
I just have to give you a boost.
Hey, somebody give me a boost. I gotta ask Chris a question.
You know what I pictured, because I saw Civil War the last night. I pictured Hulk Hogan in the Jesse Plemons role. What kind of American are you, brother?
Oh my god.
and then you just, I am a real American.
He just makes them listen to that, and then they're on their way.
Yeah,
I could see him wearing those blood red glasses too when he looks at everybody.
It's supposed to be red, or I didn't know you wore red glasses for shooting.
Is Civil War worth watching, Dan? Because I have got to make a decision this weekend. It's either the Amy Winehouse movie.
No,
Civil War.
Not the Winehouse movie. Go see Civil War.
Definitely go see
Civil War.
Yeah, but
Civil War.
I am getting
Alex Garland.
I've got a female partner to think about. So it's like, who's an Amy Winehouse fan? So.
Have you seen any of the threads just absolutely savaging the Amy Winehouse movie? Because
I've heard it's not good. I've heard it's not good.
Yeah.
Feels like a downer too. I'd say if it's a date movie, not that Civil War is exactly a date movie, but
If you know Amy's story, I've seen the documentary that A24 put out and it won the Oscar for it. No, it's a downer. It's just a total downer. Yeah.
The doc is probably the best place. Some of these biopics lately haven't been great, so Yeah, I'd say Civil War, Mike. I think you'll enjoy it more. I don't know what she's into, but because Civil War is not exactly what you think it is. If you've already seen the movie, you kind of know. But I thought it was amazing. I really loved it. Slight
second that.
spoilers, so yeah.
And
Yeah, it's
apolitical and apolitical anti-war masterpiece. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, more about journalism and it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I'm curious to get your take. I don't want to spoil anything because it's an experience. Shout out Brian, Billy Bean, everybody in the chat, Zombie. Was your theater packed, Stone? Because one thing that was cool about my showing is like people actually just hung around and talked about it after. Which yeah,
I saw it at the Alamo Draft House. People were jumping in their seats. They were audibly gasping at the endless gunfire that just it just shakes the theater. It absolutely just shakes the theater. It's so terrifying. I mean, but believe the hype. That's all I can say. Believe the hype. And finally, last but not least, Kristen Dunst, who has been on screen for 30 years, ever since 1994 when she did Interview with the Vampire and Little Women. She has never been better, and she is unforgettable in the lead role as the photojournalist. And Carol Spaney, if I'm saying that right, she just played Priscilla Presley for A24, and she's been getting well-deserved raves as well. It's I plan on seeing it again. It's that good.
Yeah, it's something I think everybody will probably enjoy. Alex Garland never misses. I mean, Annihilation.
I liked Men even.
Men, Ex Machina.
And,
I mean,
and Annihilation, of course. Yep.
I think Dunst, I know some people criticize her acting, but I think she was perfect. She is just closed emotionally. She has seen some shit at the point we kind of pick up in this movie, and I thought she was really good. Possible Oscar, you never know. It's an intense experience. I saw that and Arcadian with Nicolas Cage back to back, which if you are a fan of Critters, there's going to be something in that movie that's going to put a smile on your face. I'll just put it that way. So yeah, that's probably more limited release. So I don't know if everybody got it, but yeah, good. And we were just talking
service soon. So
probably, I was going to say it won't be long. We were talking before we went live about Sasquatch Sunset.
Yep. Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
We're reviewing it.
I saw that. I'm so pumped about it because I subscribe to the Stoned Ape theory personally. It seems to be like a movie about it.
Hey, can you explain the Stoned Ape theory? Because I'm not sure if I'm familiar with it.
So Terrence and Dave McKenna are like these two huge figures in the the psychedelics world. If you want to know anything about mushrooms, you go there. Well, they formulated this idea that at some point in human evolution, hominoids' brain size more than doubles in a very short amount of time. I don't want to say the exact amount of time because I don't know for sure, but there's a mystery behind how that even happened, right? So the idea is when you use mushrooms, neural pathways are created and repaired inside of your brain.
Yeah.
It's really good for you, actually. But they think these apes, these colonies of apes that would just find them over time and ingest them and trip balls, right? Over time, that actually increased our brain size and made us kind of what we are today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then there's a whole theory that mushrooms and fungus, because we're way more closely related to fungus than fungus even is to a plant. That mushrooms may be the seeding of consciousness throughout the universe because they can survive the vacuum of space, all that. They can come in on asteroids.
That's true. So
of course, all theories, right? You can't answer any of that. But
Well, I mean, they're fun. But like, what are the similarities that we have with mushrooms? Because I mean, like, I want to know, like, is this why I love mushrooms so much?
it kind of is. So like if you look at our evolutionary branch, like we split from mushrooms not that long ago. Like in the scheme of things, we're
Nice.
very closely related to mushrooms.
So yeah, exactly. So also, Zombie 7979, mushrooms are good for your brain. Mario was right. Yes, the Super
He
Mario
was
Brothers
right.
movie was correct.
Nice.
Holy crap, guys.
We can never shoot down those damn ducks, but we can get plenty of mushrooms.
I thought the machine elves and DMT were interesting, but no,
They
I'm gonna
are.
have to go look up stoned apes.
Yeah, so about 1.5 billion years ago, we split from fungus. So that in the scheme of things, that is not very long ago.
No, I was gonna say not. That is interesting. It kind of
1.5.
tracks.
I got 1.5 billion or million.
Billion.
Billion. But that is a long time though.
Yeah, but like cosmically, that's nothing. Like our like we think life could have started upwards of 4 billion years ago on the planet.
Yeah.
So, how did we split from mushrooms, though?
Just
I'm just curious.
so like you would have certain things that would become on, so it would just be this branch, like it is in any other point in evolution. Like we, someday something was born that looked more similar to something else, and then that branched off and becoming its own thing and became humans, and then fucking fungus did its thing, and it's still fungus. It's not related to plants like almost at all. Like
You basically just had a bunch of ape people. Just you had like the Rogans. Like if you tried ayahuasca, you had the Alex Jones. They were all it just kind of branched. Nothing much has changed. It's pretty much the same.
No, it's insanely interesting to look up though, and to theorize about, especially while doing mushrooms.
So how does that play in with like Sasquatches?
Like they're tripping balls in the trailer I saw.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
So the theory would be whichever hominid, like bipedal ape, started eating the mushrooms and started getting smarter and smarter and smarter and became like Homo erectus or even like Australopithecus or something, would have been some sort of in between missing link. It would have been a large furry Sasquatch like creature.
Yeah. That movie looks so fun.
It does look interesting. Dialogue free apparently, which makes sense unless humans come into it. And we got a new Planet of the Apes too. So
yes.
When what's that one?
I think it's Reign of the
Kingdom.
Planet of the Apes. Kingdom.
They're always fun, dude. I love everything Planet of the Apes, all the old movies, the TV series, all the new stuff.
I'm a fan.
Give it to me. Give it to me. It was one of those things I watched with my dad and my uncles. Like they loved it from growing up. So
yeah. No, I was a big fan. What's up, Garrett, in the chat as well? We're just talking mushrooms and meaning of life.
All three steel books for Rise, Dawn, and War. Yeah, I love Planet.
I love that trilogy. That
It's
trilogy
great.
was shockingly good. Shockingly good.
I like how it's like so different from the original. We're watching like, they're still apes at this point. They're not these weird hominids.
Yes. Yeah, the trailer looks promising. Very cool. Very cool.
Not all heroes are humans.
Yeah, the TV series too. I wasn't a big fan of the Mark Wahlberg movie, but
that was
most
garbage.
Yeah, there was a funny story on that movie because, like, apparently Tim Roth and Charlton Heston did not get along at all, as you might imagine, and like they wouldn't talk to each other. Like it was just this big thing. It's like they just went in, did their scenes, and just they had no other communication. So the shoot, I think, was pretty interesting.
That might be the first Planet of the Apes movie that I saw, which is sort of like, and I haven't really gone back to it since because I'm just like, they're fine. It's fine. I'm good.
Chris brings up he hated the ape Lincoln at the end of the Tim Burton one. That was stolen from the Clerks cartoon, by the way. It is like, yes, they do that gag, huh? Yes, the ending where they're at the big Abe Lincoln Memorial and it's an ape. Yes, that is 1,000% in a Clerks cartoon.
That's
beforehand.
So Tim Burton ripped off Kevin Smith. What the hell, man? Like, what the hell?
Dang. Yeah, I mean, Clerks TV series, May 31st, 2000 was the first episode. I don't know when Ape Lincoln was, but dang. Or it could be a case of weird parallel thought, which happens.
It probably is that. But he talks about it in like, you guys remember when Kevin Smith would put out one of those a year where he just talks for like 4 hours at a college somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to watch every one of those. So
an evening with Kevin Smith.
And doesn't he still have that his podcast?
Yeah, he talks way too much now. Like I know way too much about Kevin Smith at this point. Like he really has nothing interesting to tell me anymore. I heard all his stories.
Yeah, I just hope he can follow up Clerks 3 with.
Man, that'd be a good one to fold it on.
I actually like Clerks 3.
I love Clerks 3. I thought it was fantastic. And I think that's why, like, if you just shut the book now, go play in TV or something, go be a TV director, dude. You loved doing that shit on the CW, you know?
Yeah. That's probably a good lane for him at this point. No more yoga hosers.
No, man. He's just, what made him special is gone. It's gone.
It's because he had a heart attack and he had to lose weight. That's why it's gone.
Quit smoking weed too, and I really don't know how to feel about that. Like I feel like I've been betrayed.
Why? Well, can't he? Like, did he stop using? Like, is he like no drugs at all, or like what about edibles?
Yeah, he won't do anything now because he had a pretty bad mental breakdown. He was impatient.
When?
Last year.
Oh Jesus! Well, never mind then. That's a good reason to stop doing drugs.
Oh, it is.
Still got offended and fucked off.
Yeah, he'll be like, oh.
Probably closed out the wrong window, but yeah.
No, he was frozen for a minute, so.
Sure that happens. Okay. That happens with Stone, so.
We'll get him back in here. Yeah, Zombie mentions Jay and Silent Bob video game. I didn't even know they made it.
I didn't know there was a first one.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Let's say I feel like I would have played that.
Yeah,
wow.
There's the man.
There we go.
It's the man of the hour.
He'll be muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Just about.
So I managed to finally get home, throw some cat food on the floor, and my computer is currently working on updates.
What the?
Oh,
so
that never happens when you need it to.
So I guess I'm on my phone, and this is a new experience for me.
That's okay. That's okay.
Oh,
pussy.
We're just we'll get Blair Witch Lorne tonight with the shaky cam.
No, because it's at 85 complete. At some point, I'm going to log off and log back on with the real shit.
Okay.
This is just a hold over because, there's only so many mushroom conversations, professional wrestling, vomiting in vehicles that I can allow the audience to be subjected to. On a funny little movie show.
It was Stoned Ape Theory. We talked the origins of
very
life.
scientific.
Here's something people want more though. I'm going to unbox something.
There we go.
So this is very exciting for me, and probably not a good idea. So it's from the Amazon because I don't really like businesses that need people. There we go. This very exciting. I'm having friends over in a couple weeks, and we needed some entertainment.
Oh.
So we will be throwing some axes.
Oh, fun.
Oh.
How does this work? I might cut myself. This might be a much more exciting stream now.
Oh.
Oh, look at that.
Ooh.
Very cool.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So how many of those came in the box?
3.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
even entirely sure you could
Just gonna
have them sent to someone's house in the UK without getting put on a watch list.
Yeah, that's what freedom's about there, Mikey.
Like,
Mm.
this is why we fought 2 wars with you, okay? That average ain't great.
We said, you want to tax the tea? Enough!
Then they were just like, we're just back to kind of screw some shit up, man.
So are you like a medieval Renfest kind of guy, Lorne?
No way in fucking hell.
Have you been to one though?
They're
Yes,
fun.
I've been to a Renaissance fair. It was not a good experience.
Renfest chicks are cute, though.
They are.
Oh my god. Okay,
They
so have you ever played the we have a Harley Quinn drinking game down here for Ren fairs because for some reason there will inevitably be Harley Quinns at your Ren fair.
They're
And
at every
this
con, too.
Yeah, well,
They look
this
like
is-
somebody stuffed a can of biscuits in that Harley Quinn outfit.
yeah. I mean, it's like I don't remember how many points you get for fat Harley Quinns, but you have to take a drink for that, right? Or 2 drinks or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's a horror con, don't be Harley Quinn. Be a little bit more creative. Too many Harleys out there.
We did see a really great, the first Ren fair that I went to with Chris, we saw a couple dressed as Arthur and the Tick, and they had it was totally medieval Arthur and the Tick. They looked amazing.
That does sound pretty cool.
Yeah.
Actually. We had a guy at the convention. It was from Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, that was pretty screen accurate.
Ooh, okay.
It's kind of cool.
Probably cost more than the real costume.
It was from the first movie, so I would say that's pretty close. Yeah, there are more mutants in the second one. I look forward to your review, Lauren. That and Bambi the Reckoning. I expect reviews for the entire Poohniverse.
I hope you're not holding your breath on this one because asphyxia is only fun for the first 2 minutes.
I hate that they call it the Poohniverse. Sounds like they're making a cinematic universe around Pootie Tang.
Yeah, I don't know if they thought that through, but they're from the UK. I don't know, it's like, hey guys, Poohniverse, it means something a little bit different.
Hey man, I didn't know Fanny meant something else over there.
Pansy?
Fanny, I think he said.
Fanny.
Oh yeah, because fanny in the
butt
UK
over here.
means vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fanny pack. So we have what you call a fanny pack. We call bum bags.
Bum bags.
It's
Okay.
the reverse. So fanny in the
bags.
UK means vagina. Basically, nobody
Because of
says
course-
fanny really. It's a very outdated term, but fanny in the UK is
Fanny.
vagina.
That's why I kept getting slapped in the gift shops when I was trying to order. Man, now I know. There you go.
Don't
To be honest,
ask for
yeah.
fanny pack
To
next
be honest,
time.
I mean, don't bring this stream down any more than we already have done. But really, in the UK, we tend to just say pussy, like in America. But that could just be the American porn influence on the UK, really. So
Bloody hell.
There's a something I'd like to see studied: the American porn influence on the rest of the world. What has it done?
Bad things, I would imagine.
I think I'd be surprised and simultaneously not surprised after
Yeah.
that study.
Yes.
Oh, that
yes.
makes sense. That makes sense.
I just can't do it if you're not stuck in something. God damn it.
Can you pretend to be a step sibling of some kind?
Oh God.
Sorry, Lauren.
What?
Oh, there's a cat.
This is
It's
what
funny.
I'm talking about.
It's true.
There
It's
you
true.
go.
What do
No,
you
she's behaving too.
Yeah, no, her claws are actually in my flesh.
Well, that's as close as you get, though. You know,
Oh, she's
gonna
like,
get
"I'm not
clawed.
doing anything. Oh.
Effective.
You got yourself 3 axes and you didn't get me any food. What the hell?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Oh. I hadn't thought about axe throwing. I got a lot of trees out there. I might do the same thing.
Oh, none of these are going to end up in my tree. I'm going to decorate up a pallet.
Oh, okay. I'm not that patient. I'll just throw it at the trees.
Fuck this wildlife.
You don't like those trees, huh?
Well, they're big trees. The axe isn't.
Hopefully it's an oak tree, so Dan's just like, what the hell is going on? Why won't it stay?
Just furiously throwing at it. Yeah. That's how it would be. But Lorne, do you want to get us back on track since we've
I can. Just keep in mind that at some point I am going to log off and log back in. And at that point I'll have headphones on, which I can't really do this.
Okay, so we can just review WrestleMania 40 until then. That's fine.
Yeah.
Do you just want to do your show tonight and I can leave?
I mean, no,
I am the least popular person on the panel, so it doesn't really matter.
No.
we have never run an actual poll.
Well, spoilers, I'm not going to do well.
I'm not touching anybody's poll.
We appreciate that.
Not in the Me Too era, you know?
Sam, who is the HR department at the VBV Corp?
We don't have one, I don't think.
We only have is that at the intern as well? Jeff has a lot on his plate, and if you guys know what I'm putting that poor fucker through right now,
yeah, it's too bad it's an unpaid internship, but got to get those credits.
Listen, there's free coffee. I mean, as long as he makes it.
Yeah, he's been, we have to get some new coffee filters because he can't keep using his sock.
Well, he can because I don't drink coffee. Listen, it's a tight business. There's not a lot of wiggle room for frivolous things in the break room where the bathroom's like toilet paper. I can't help that.
Yeah, we can't afford to buy all you fuckers soap. Wash your ass at home, okay? Don't do it here.
Listen. All of us know that, especially the guys out there, you don't necessarily wash your hands after every piss. I don't want to hear nonsense.
I wash my hands after every piss. Thank you very much.
I don't believe you. There's times in public bathrooms where touching the sink is going to be more dangerous than anything that's on my penis. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Can you feel me, Stone?
Yeah, very true. Very true.
You gonna go with a Shape of Water? That dude washes his hands before he pisses because his dick ain't dirty.
Now, if you're doing anything else in the bathroom, you need to wash up, you dirty fuckers. But
have you ever walked into like a public toilet? There's like free urinals. This is Sam. This is
you say
urinals?
That was amazing.
Urinals.
Urinals?
Urinals. Urinals.
Okay. Urinals.
Well,
hitting them with the fucking aluminium.
Listen, you say tomato, I say tomato. Okay, so you walk in, there's free urinals. Okay, walk into a public toilet, free urinals. There's one guy in, and he's in the middle urinal.
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
the fuck?
Yeah.
Why would that guy be there?
He's
looking to make the worst is when there's a wall and they walk up to you. You got a whole wall of urine.
Yeah.
And this guy wants to park it right beside
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, do you ever want to bring the noise down and do something a little bit depressing and a little bit awesome and a little bit necessary?
Absolutely.
We're already doing the show.
Yeah. Zing.
So, guys, it's been a fucking month, hasn't
It has.
it? It has. It's been I don't know what time doesn't mean anything post pandemic anyway, but a couple weeks I'm gonna say we lost a dear friend in the community, and some of you know Dave Savage Zombie Reviews, some of you didn't, some of you saw him in passing, some of them saw him on Mike's channel on the regular, Here's what I have to say about it, and I haven't said anything publicly really. I tried to be on a certain show that was spent as a memorial, and I couldn't really do it for technical reasons. And also my head was like basically 2 squirrels fighting 2 chipmunks at that time. I couldn't. It was not going to be pretty. We've been a community for, let's say, 4 or 5 years, whatever it's been since we kind of all started this journey together. And it was inevitable we'd lose someone at some point. We all know that. I mean, if you've lived to be as old as I am, you've lost a number of people along the way. And certainly this is a person I've never been in a room with. So why did it hit so hard? Well, it hit so hard because there's only so many of us out there that are part of our experience. And what I mean by that is this. We came together through a love of movies. Not even necessarily great movies, if we're being completely honest. Sometimes it's the shittiest bottom of the barrel movies in the world, but we all at some point in our formative years formed a deep love and appreciation. And we laughed a lot. Because how silly is that? Dave was one of those guys that I instantly vibed with, that his map of the world and my map of the world were not much different, even though we were on different sides of the world. I've lost people that I see on the regular, and it didn't hurt as much as losing Dave. This really isn't about Dave, because that's a whole different jumble of emotions that I can't properly express anyway. What this is about is, it really focused me in a lot of ways that we need to start really, really appreciating each other. So one thing I'm asking for is, let's end all the fucking drama. Whatever still exists out there, if I've trespassed over you, if I've said something to offend you, let's get past all that. And I promise on my side, that's true too. And I mean that in every case. Some of you know that I have some real feelings about some people and some things that have happened. It's all gone now. I don't fucking care. Truth is, if we're going to walk this journey together, let's do it for the right reasons and in the right way. Because Dave was, a guy in great shape, over 10 years younger than me, I think. If it can happen to him, it can happen to any one of us. Certainly, I've had health issues, which are ongoing in some ways. I know Jonathan has been through some serious stuff. I think everyone that you're looking at on this panel has probably had some pretty serious stuff happen health-wise over the last 5 years. Any of us can be gone tomorrow, and more importantly, any of you can be gone tomorrow. I don't want to go through this and think about the things I wish I'd said. So I want to start today by just saying, I love all you guys. All the guys on screen right now, all you guys watching, the guys that don't say a word in the chat but have watched all of the videos, the people who hate my guts but watch to hate me. I love you too, because you want to know what? We're in this together. And if Dave's passing can do any one thing for us, especially those who never got to actually meet him, let's be a community the right way. All right, I didn't prepare that. That was like kind of sloppy, and I apologize, but I'm done.
I'm down.
No, it's well said. Well
Speaking
said.
Speaking from the heart.
Love all you guys too, even in the chat.
Yeah.
Even Cliff sometimes when he's not talking shit.
So
How
funny.
old was Dave? I didn't even.
He was 43,
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
and it was just all from literally complained of back pains. Went in a few weeks ago. He lived on the Isle of Man, which, if you don't know, obviously you guys aren't going to know the geography. It's basically an island off the coast of Britain, not far from Liverpool, where I am. Went in, complained of back pains. He said, "We think you might have had a heart attack." They sent him to a specialist heart hospital in Liverpool, which not literally like 10-minute drive from my house. He went in there. They put him under sedation, operated, and he never came back. Yeah, he just he had multiple strokes. They knew he knew there was going to be risks. But I mean, I went to see him before he passed. Yeah, and it's not like I said, it's not like the movies, and I don't want to go into gory details, but the way the movies like sort of like highlight, people On life support, it's not like that. It's nice, peaceful, just like the big. It's not like that. Well, not in my experience anyway. But I just want to. My memories of Dave is just he was just like me, and because this community that I've kind of jumped onto with talking to you guys, I'm not a movie aficionado. I mean, I'm not like, I can't put out an hour synopsis on a movie from the 1960s or something that Lorne could do. I don't know. I'm not like, I can't do a deep dive on like the trauma back catalogue like Dan could. I'm just a guy who just grew up I'm just like a guy who just grew up like in horror movies and just likes to talk about horror movies. I'm not an expert. And Dave is similar to me. He loved horror movies, but he would have been the first to admit he was just a guy who just liked to put the webcam on, probably being influenced by people like you before he even went live, and put the webcam on, spoke into a camera, and just got excited about what was coming down the line and what he loved and what he hated. And that was Dave. And, and I know that Lorne, I mean, he told me that like we did a live one time and I ended the stream. I had no idea that you spoke for 2 hours afterwards. And I think, Jonathan, you were the same. You spoke for like hours after the stream had ended. I had no idea about that.
Multiple times.
That was Dave. That was Dave. Everyone that you engaged with.
Oh man, I could see meeting Dave in like a pub over there or something and just drinking until they closed the doors on us, right? Like I'm sure he was that guy.
I did that with him once. I was lucky enough to meet him once in person, and he came over to Liverpool, and I walked into this pub, and I was like, I don't know who Dave. I've only seen Dave from like head to torso, so you don't know how tall people are online. And I thought Dave was like a 5'9", 5'10" guy. I thought he was similar size to me. And I was like, "Where are you, Dave?" I'm on the phone to him, and then he goes, "I'm over by the bar." And he's like, I just see this guy's like 6'2", built like a brick shit house, like looked like a bouncer. And it's just like, there's Dave. And, and then, we met that one time, that one and only time in person. But it was like, I'd known him all my life, It was just because we'd had that bond over YouTube and there was no awkward silence. The one thing you know when you're with someone who's a good friend is if nobody's talking, it's not awkward. Like, if you know what I mean, it's like you can have that silence, and it's not an awkward silence. It's just we're not chatting for the next 10 seconds. It's not an awkward thing. It's just two friends who have got nothing to say for those next 10 seconds, and we're not like, it's. And
just happy to spend time together, right? Like we're just gonna waste this time together.
Yeah, but I mean, that was Dave. And he's hit 1,000 subs as well in the last 2 weeks.
I saw that. That was awesome.
Yeah. No, that was very cool. Even people I don't think he streamed with were, he still touched them and got him over that 1K, which I thought was really, really cool. Yeah,
absolutely.
But I think the funniest thing about that's not a word that should be in the vocabulary of this conversation, is it? The strangest thing about it all, and I think Mike probably is in lockstep with me, is it reminded us of the chaos of our lives, really. Like one day news can reach you that just kind of showcases there's no safety net. None. It was really, really, really shocking.
Yeah.
And I'm not always the best person with my emotions, or ever. But yeah, it's just it's a profoundly disturbing thing. Like, we talk about death in movies all the time. It kind of clears up that we're not talking about the real thing at all. At all. It's a different sort of monster. And frankly, it's a monster I don't want to see on screen, and I don't want it in my real life. But anyway, what I thought we would do for the first hour of this show, which we're probably coming up on, is just kind of talk with each other about anything and everything because we are a community. So I know that I did hear Dan, although I was swerving and trying to get around traffic. Probably without turn signals, probably unsafely. If you guys have questions for us, go ahead and ask. I mean, something deeply personal, of course, we're not going to answer. That's just reality. It's the internet.
I can give you 6 digits of my social. That's it. I mean, that's where I got to cut it off.
But if you guys want something from us, want to know something, I mean, I guess ask. And if not, we can talk. We have other topics for tonight, but I don't want to lose sight that this is about people. And years ago now, I had a person on an early episode of DVV when I was doing interviews a lot or conversations a lot more often. I was looking for a co-host, and but not very hard. I was just kind of inviting people on the show who I found interesting. And when Sam came on the show just as a guest, I knew I didn't want her to leave.
And I haven't. And it's been 3 years.
The background is insane. But
parking.
And kind of same thing, like, I'm not sure exactly the moment Dan stepped into our orbit, but when Dan showed up, it made perfect sense. It was like a brother that's been with us the whole time.
I know exactly when it was. You brought Dan over for a trivia show.
Yeah, but I don't know how that came about.
Yeah, I don't know how it came about, but yeah, he was just here.
I was around the chat for a little bit before I was on stuff, but
Schein.
Yeah, I can't remember first show necessarily either. I think during lockdown, God, it had to be like thousands of hours of just streaming. I'm not even exaggerating. That was great.
2020 was a great. I think I honestly can't remember. Like, obviously, I subbed to Dan. I subbed to you through maybe Stingray's channel, and I think to sub to you, Jonathan, maybe through Stingray's channel as well. But I honestly can't remember at what how I was sub to Piz, and obviously I started to appear on Piz's Patreon streams. Is how I met. I knew Lorne.
That's how I remember meeting Mike. Was the Patreon stream?
Yeah, that was probably it. Actually, it was probably because Piz's early Patreon streams were kind of like all you guys.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of got. I think I bet most of you guys. I mean, I knew Lorne anyway because from the Sausage Factory, and I distinctly remember when Lorne came onto the Sausage Factory. People didn't know how to take him, and I think you even said yourself. You even described yourself as like the heel character, because you kind of came in, and I think people were kind of used to like the normal like setup. You were very opinionated. You obviously knew your stuff, but I think it's. I mean, you probably were the first to admit this. It took you maybe a few shows to win people around because I think people were kind of like used to, yeah.
I knew instantly when I got on a panel with Lauren, I was like, I want to pick whatever position this guy takes and take the opposite because this is going to be fun. And then that's what we built our relationship off of.
That is very true. But it's funny, even like a formalized debate about aliens with Jonathan, after we turned off the camera, I mean, I think there was more laughter and more straight up brotherhood. And yeah, the early days of Sausage Factory when I came on, which was not the early days of the show, it was I was there for probably all the wrong reasons. Because honestly, the reason I said yes was to hopefully, at some point sell some books. And by the way, Amazon.com, search, buy something. But it's funny, this community just doesn't let you be a bad actor. It doesn't. It makes you want to do things for the right reasons. So I remember watching Mike go live for the first time. I absolutely remember.
I was terrified.
You were visibly, and it was awesome because it meant you cared, and I think that came through like loud. I remember reaching out to you and being like, "I want to make an intro for you," and you're like, "What?" And it's good because that intro gets played 3 or 4 times each time. So
yeah. just briefly go back to because Jonathan talked about the aliens, because I know you've always been an advocate for Jason X being a better movie than Aliens. I remember like one of the streams me and Dave were doing, and you jumped on and we were saying, oh, come on, Lorne, Aliens is a far better movie than Jason X, and you proceeded to make an argument how Jason X is a better movie. And even though we both believe you were wrong, we just thought we can't argue. This guy's too intelligent. We haven't got an argument to make, because Lorne's just gonna just chew us up and spit us out with his arguments against it. So we went, okay, Lorne, okay, we just agree with you.
Here's the thing. Lorne reminds me, and the reason I think I gravitated to him is he reminds me of old school internet forums. Stay with me. If you didn't know your shit, someone would eat your fucking lunch, right? So if you came in there and said something wild, right, and there'd be 30 Lornes right there for you, just fucking hit you up. So he made my game better as far as horror knowledge and all these things. So because somebody could call me on it now. I wasn't the the leading expert in the room.
Oh well, that's what. Listen, we did a trivia contest to decide who the expert was, and Dan kicked my ass. So.
Yeah, Dan.
That teaches you the lesson. This is feeling very much like one of those episodes at the tail end of a television show where they just use clips from previous episodes, and the characters awkwardly would introduce them as if they were a part of the show.
A lot of the times that was the season finale.
Yeah, and
there you go.
This is also a season finale. So I guess we have something to announce about this show. When the decision was made to bring Regionfree back, it was made kind of as a not as a hostile takeover, but rather as a decision to continue something we all wanted desperately to continue. But certainly it was made without a great plan to go forward, as much as just trying to make it the best show we could. And one thing that we discovered along the way is that YouTube is shrinking. It's not growing anymore. It's definitely shrinking in most categories. And getting subscribers for this channel has been difficult. Now, all you guys in the chat that we see all the time, you guys are amazing, and thank you for coming over. And we don't mean to make your life more challenging. But the reality is, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Regionfree to exist as an independent channel anymore. We did 12 episodes. We did a year this way. We were hoping that it would become its own thing. And really what it's done has been, I think, a lot of fun. It's a great show, and we are not ending the show. So no suspense there. But season 4 of Regionfree will be migrating over to the VVV network. That's not for ego reasons. It's for very practical reasons. VBV is now a place for a lot of voices, not just me. In fact, I'm the minority voice. I am probably not on my own channel as much as many other people are now. So it only kind of makes sense for this show to exist there. So guess what I'm asking you all to do? Yes, if you don't already subscribe to VVV, please go over to Visited by Voices 1 and subscribe there. That's where next season of Regionfree will continue. If you have feelings about that, if you feel it's awkward, I'm willing to talk to anyone about it. This really was not some game plan for me to do something with my channel. It's just at a point where it makes a lot more sense to get 1,000 eyes on these episodes than 200. And I did talk to all the guys you're looking at besides, Mike wasn't involved in that conversation. Sorry, we exclude Brits.
That's okay. But, I'm used to it.
With extreme prejudice.
But we're going to start season 4 on the VVV network. It'll be also a great place. You can see full episodes of Sheebie-Jeebies with Sam. You can
whenever those are done.
You can see full episodes of 60 minutes, not seconds, of Stone. The Conan box set episode is incredible, and Stone brings his A game.
We need Deathstalker next.
Yeah, maybe the whole trilogy.
There's 4.
So the quadrilogy, Yeah.
We don't.
Yes.
No, we don't acknowledge that 4th film. We have. I mean, and we had the Dead End Drive-In, which is Dan's playground to host a panel show when he talks about a double feature of great exploitation films.
Yes, yes.
There's a lot of great entertainment there, so please realize you're going to get all the people you're already watching, a lot more of them. So it's kind of win-win. So come on over, subscribe, and that's where season 4 will begin. However, there will not be an episode of Region Free next month. Recalibrating a little bit, retooling a little bit. There's some changes that both we make or in the process of making, and other people have decided to make independently. So to find out what that all looks like, come on over.
Yes, please do.
That was a really long-winded announcement, wasn't it? I'm bad at that shit.
That's okay. You got it. Visited by Voices 1. Subscribe. Region Free will be back.
Would you believe that my computer is not fucking done updating?
It's Windows. I would believe.
I 1000% believe that. I've never seen that blue screen and thought, well, I'm ready to do something here any minute.
I have 22% battery life on this phone.
Lorne and his porn. Oh man.
That would be a better excuse than probably what's going on. I will say my search history, if a government agency is out there watching, my search history is probably the most alarming search history they've ever come across.
You're an author. I would imagine. Yeah.
So this shit in my search history, like, how long does it take a human eyeball to dissolve in a bottle of Coca-Cola?
Well,
so
that was a real answer I needed.
Yeah. Okay. What's the answer?
I'm guessing you don't want to go through the last 5 searches in your search history now around the panel, huh?
I don't want to do that.
Let me look.
Well, I'm Googling it right now.
I would love to do that if my fucking computer would do anything besides cleaning up 100% complete. Don't turn off your computer.
Yeah, Windows sucks. Use Chrome.
Mine's not that bad. It's fine.
This time.
Yeah, this time we're good.
I also remember the other one that always kept bringing, because after you search for something, like, you start getting emails about that subject. Right? But there's nothing scary about that at all. I remember there was something about crocodile eggs cuisine was a search term that I put in. And you'd think that there'd be no way there was any products that would respond to that, right? No, apparently you can buy crocodile eggs as food.
I get that. Have you ever had alligator or crocodile? I don't know if you can eat crocodile.
I have had alligator, but it was fed to me without me knowing, because I would not eat alligator normally, because I have a rule. If it would eat you in nature, you shouldn't be eating it.
Well, that's why I did it, dude. I talked a little shit while I did it too. And I tell the boys about it when I'm at the zoo, but like, I ate one of the bitches one day.
Know your place in the natural kingdom.
I'm an arrogant human. I am knowing my place. I'm taunting.
Did you give him the final boss promo?
Oh.
Don't fuck with the final boss.
Lord looks confused now.
This is a common. These guys speak this alien language.
We speak Carney.
It's called wrestling.
It's wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling.
I think
wrestling. That's better than wrestling.
One of these days, the wrestling bug's gonna bite Lorne, and he's gonna not.
Lorne's gonna it's gonna be some Japanese shit. So it's gonna get him. He's gonna watch fucking like Noah or something, like something obscure, and he's gonna be like, "Now that I can get behind."
You do realize that that's when I finally really take that bath with the toaster, right?
The next show is just gonna be Lorne singing Fozzy Judas just through the intro.
Judas singing, Judas in my mind. What was that promotion that had like Leatherface and Jason duke it out in Japan?
FMW.
Was that FMW?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Which shout out to the Flesh Wound team that's out raising hell at XPW, baptized in blood as we speak. So some connections there.
Good luck, guys.
Guys, I'm gonna have to bounce now. I'm afraid it's 2:10.
Oh, okay.
I've got to get up at 6 a.m. So to be fair,
you understand.
Okay.
Thank you,
thanks
Mike.
for having me on.
Always good seeing you.
Take care, man.
See you later, guys.
Easy.
Bye.
The mic.
So do we want to like segue from wrestling to Psycho?
Okay,
Please,
but
please,
before
please,
that, what
please.
about Kaiju Big Battle?
The fuck is that?
Yeah, I mean, if you really think hard about it, I bet you could put it together.
Dan knows.
Exactly. We'll give you a crash course, Lauren. We promise.
We're gonna show the axes again any moment. I'm
It's
telling
wrestling, but people dress as kaiju monsters.
Yeah.
It's like a short version of a Power Rangers episode.
Although sometimes you get people that dress as waffles or hamburgers. So
I don't know. Do you ever feel like the internet's made people feel too comfortable with themselves? Like maybe we need to.
maybe a little too accepting. We need more shame in this culture.
Yeah, we need a little shame, like just a bit. Maybe don't wear a tail.
Yeah, I'm
maybe
okay.
draw the line at trying to be an anthropomorphic person, like thing.
So, Psycho.
Yes,
Psycho.
which is also
Before
a
we
psycho
lose
thing
Lauren.
to do.
So Sam, I'm curious because you are just kind of getting into I know you've been doing the audiobooks and
Yeah.
you've
And-
only seen the first movie, right?
I literally just watched the first movie today in its entirety.
Ooh, okay.
Which is like, it's also the anniversary of my mother's death, so maybe not the best time to watch the original Psycho, but here we are.
Oh, yeah.
No, but yeah, I've spent the last week listening to the audiobooks, and I went through Psycho, Psycho 2, and Psycho House by Robert Bloch. And Psycho 2 and Psycho House not having anything to do with the movies. For good reason.
Did you make it to Psycho 2 in the movies? Did you get to see
I
that?
did. I finished Psycho 2 earlier, because
Cool.
I had seen some of it previously, and I finally, actually rewatched it again and was like, oh yeah, I remember this movie's awesome. That's the craziest fucking ending too.
Yeah. But
Psycho
2 really is one of the greatest sequels, in my opinion.
So good.
Yeah. And just I can't, I hate the fact that it's like the first movie. I think the issue was the first Psycho movie I actually saw was the 98 remake with Vince Vaughn. And I saw that in theaters because it was a horror movie and in theaters, and that's where I was on the weekends. And after that, I was like, I'm good. I got it. I'm fine. So I ended up missing out on one of our greatest works of horror literature. The book especially, though, I was just like, even though I know that story, everybody knows that story, even if you've never really seen the movie. What are we doing? Be on the move. I'm distracted now. Cold Chills, is that blog?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very nice.
Oh, you got it. Yeah, signed copy.
Ooh. So, but
you have strange
Ex-library
eons
as well. Ex-library book as well. Which I have a big fetish for ex-library copies of anything I can.
But just even though I know the beats of the story, I'm just like, girl, no, he did what? He cut off her head. That blew my mind. Like I was still really completely engaged and into that book. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. Psycho 2, I have my issues with. Like Psycho 2 was me doing this, and then Psycho House was the same except the other direction. But because my issue with Psycho 2 is like Norman Bates is in there for 20 minutes, like 20% of the book, and then he's gone. And I didn't realize that until we got at the end of the book, and they're like, "Oh no, Norman's been dead this whole time." And I had to deal with these assholes in Hollywood and that other storyline over there about them making the Psycho movie called Crazy Lady, and I was like, when are we going to see Norman again? I'd like to see him again, because, even though he's a murderer and a lunatic, he's still sympathetic. So I was just
less so in the books, though. He kind of looks more like me, probably, in the book. And
he's a little bit heavier set.
Yeah.
So what was the idea with casting Anthony Perkins then? He's not even accurate. Just awesome actor, I guess.
Well,
disarmingly charming, good looking.
I mean, Stefano's screenplay is pretty explicit about what that version of Norman Bates looked like, and it definitely is the boy next door. It's kind of very similar to and this audience will get this. Why the Mrs. Voorhees has to be the killer in Friday the 13th, because you need the one person that's too normal, and that's what's uncanny about it. Norman Bates in the book is not really uncanny. I mean, Mary is even like kind of suspicious of him because of how he looks and acts. Whereas in the movie, that's not the case. If anything, she thinks he's a dweeb, right? This guy's not a threat because this guy's clearly so harmless. He's a shut-in. He's weird because he's weird, but he's harmless. So, Sam, what I really want to know is, film and books are different experiences, right? But so apples to apples is not what they are. But do you think you enjoyed the movie more as a movie or the book more as a book? Which one do you like more in their own category?
I probably am going to go with the book. Even though I really love Anthony Perkins in these movies, so
interesting. For as much as the drop off you have for Block's later sequels, which were written much later,
yes,
and were written as a reaction, which is not usually a good reason to write a book. I mean, every once in a while you get like William Peter Blatty doing Legion as a response to the Heretic, but in this case he was reacting badly to a good film. So,
yeah. I just, I think that you're going to have to refresh my memory because I was listening to audiobooks and I'm still, I've gotten into audiobooks more if it's like an established property that I already have some familiarity with it and so I can understand it easier. Otherwise, I have no idea. So I feel like his mother's abuse was more passive in the book. Am I correct in that, or is it?
So
I mean, I feel like it's definitely more overt in the movie. I mean, for obvious reasons, because it's a different medium.
Well, it's the kind of abuse whereas when you overly coddle a child, make them feel special, they're the center of the world, and then Mrs. Bates meets a man, and Norman no longer has that attention. And now he feels deeply offended by that lack of attention that was so overbearing before, but that's all he ever knew. And that was taken away from him. And Norman makes the decision that he needs to kill. Whether he killed the suitor or not is wonderfully elastic. Because we only have dialogue to support that. But he definitely killed Mom, right? He definitely poisoned Mom. So it's the kind of thing, the only way he could keep her was to kill her and stuff her and put her in a window.
Yeah, and that's sort of, it's like, that's obvious, like, this weird enmeshment that they had that I can understand why it's like, yeah, you have a very dangerous attachment style after that kind of abuse.
Yeah. It's a weird abuse because it's not like he was being beaten every week or every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're led to believe life is a certain way and it's not, there's a form of abuse there.
Yeah. So who do you think, like, so if not Norman, who killed who then would kill Joe Considine?
Well, I mean, that's the question though. What evidence do we have that he even really died?
Joe Considine? I imagine there's a body though, right?
Where?
I mean, it's just mentioned by other characters in the book that it was a murder-suicide, and that Norman, laced the teas with strychnine.
Sure, but at no point again. There's a big. I mean, you have to believe that he dug up his mother, took her back to the house, performed the taxidermy, right? All that. There's a weird omission of any information about the lover. It's just impassive, nothing else. No battery life here. I don't know. I always took it as fairly unreliable compared to everything else. like the reason that people wouldn't believe that Norman did this and had his mom in his house was because the whole situation seemed, and he wasn't institutionalized based on, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole lot of like, I don't know, a sense of unreliability about that whole backstory. I'm not saying it's a Joker backstory in which it's like maybe made up in the moment, but I am saying like I don't think we're meant to read it as exactly a play-by-play of what actually happened.
Bates Motel, not the TV movie, which you don't need to watch, but the TV series from a decade ago or so now. There you go. That really dives into a younger Norman Bates, some of the origins. It took a little while for that to grow on me. I'm not gonna lie.
At least with that show, you get why he was attracted to his mom, though. I mean, look at Vera Farmiga. I mean,
this is true.
My God, glad she's not my mom.
Freddie Highmore's had a weird career trajectory.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. There's a whole that she has a younger clone running around out there of herself too. It's
her sister. Not her daughter. Yeah. For me, I really play Psycho in that, and it's a small list, but I consider it a perfect horror movie, much like Night of the Living Dead, and it's just amazing. I mean, and just the story behind it. I mean, Variety did actually leak the plot, so it was out there, but Hitchcock buying up all the books and all of those crazy, we won't let you in if you're late, sort of things that he did. And also one of the first guys to get this made just took a box office cut, which he made bank on. Insane amount of money at the time, and it's just a testament to what a genius he was. He really, when 1955's Diaboliques comes out from Clouseau, he just felt like he needed to make a change and just make that next great horror film that was going to define the genre going forward, and he did. He wasn't gonna let that French guy catch him, and he hammered out Psycho. I just think it's a wonderful film. I could see it 100 times and not be bored watching it.
How many times do you think you've seen it?
Oh, Psycho, probably at least 30, 40 times. At least, probably. I don't really.
Easily.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so different too. I mean, the portrayal of Marion Crane, which times were changed. Like by the end of that decade, and they shot this in '59. By the end of that decade, society had changed so much. But she wasn't your typical female character at the time. I mean, she was having an affair. She was, just very different for that time. And I think Hitchcock was able to tap into that early. By 65, we're getting Rosemary's Baby. We're, not too long after that, we have Easy Rider. I mean, cinema was just changing rapidly, but he was a guy who had his finger on the pulse early on. And I mean, truth be told, I got like a lot of Psycho notes here, and I'm not going to get to any of these things because there's just so many, facets to the franchise. Yeah.
Maybe a future Dead End Drive-In episode. Who knows?
Maybe we'll do that. But
Scream gets all the attention for killing off its main character like within the first few minutes of the film.
Yeah,
I mean Psycho did it fucking 30 some odd years beforehand.
I remember people like, "Oh, that is so clever," and I'm like, "No, it is not." Goddamn, guys!
Like the most famous horror movie of all time did it.
Yeah,
and arguably. Almost all of the most famous horror movies did it. I mean, Friday the 13th, you think you're following Robbie Morgan into town and she gets wiped out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could even argue that Halloween is, again, like a false lead with its opening sequence with the sister who we are spending the time with. And she gets, so, I mean, I don't think that's that terribly creative. And by the way, I never thought Drew Barrymore was going to be the lead of that film. Never. Like, I never was confused about that. That was so transparently a opening kill.
Well, if you know the beats for horror, like you
Yeah.
shouldn't meet your main character at the beginning. We should have fought her to set up our villain.
Stakes. Yeah.
Stone, where did you first find Psycho? I'm curious because I know you're a big fan.
I remember I watched it originally with my dad when I was like 11 or 12. And while he was a massive Hitchcock fan, he said that this was the only one that he didn't record because it was the only one that actually scared him. When he saw it in the theater in 1960, it kind of traumatized him a little bit. And, I had already gotten into like North by Northwest, the 39 Steps, Rope, Rear Window, every Hitchcock film under the sun. And
I love Rope.
Yeah, Rope is amazing. But I fell in love with Psycho immediately. I mean, I've seen that Psycho documentary where they interview Clive Barker, many times. And but it took me a long time to get in touch with all the sequels, like Psycho 2, Richard Franklin's brilliant sequel. Anthony Perkins' guilty pleasure movie, Psycho 3, and of course Psycho for the beginning. And then you have this piece of shit. But well, it's not the worst thing in the Psycho universe. I still think that's the Bates Motel TV movie with
that's the one. That's the bad one.
With Courtney Cox and
Lori Petty.
Was that like a pilot situation?
That was supposed to be a pilot for a show, and it just didn't work. It just straight up did not work at all.
Lori Petty's like a female Kramer, if you can imagine that in like the Psycho universe. Very quirky girl. You got to watch it once. It's awful, but
neither of Norman's. What?
No, she was like. I'm trying to remember. She was like homeless. She might have been squatting there, I think, if I recall. Yeah.
They just tried to do time.
It also had Jason Bateman, believe it or not, back when his sister was doing Family Ties. And and the whole idea was that there was a lot of hauntings going on at the Bates Motel, and they were trying to do like a TV show after that.
That's
but it just
dumb.
Yeah, it failed horribly. But I am a huge fan of the Psycho franchise. I mean, the only thing I don't own, I even have the Psycho Legacy documentary on DVD. The only thing I don't own is that Hitchcock movie they made with Anthony Hopkins, where it showcases him actually making Psycho. But the problem is but the problem was it wasn't released through Universal, so there were a lot of rights issues. And so when they were playing Psycho, it wasn't Psycho. It was a mock version of that. So just little frustrations like that. But I was thinking only a few months ago, like, where are they going to go from here? I mean, after the Bates Motel show did its thing and ran its course. Oh my God, he just cloned himself. But after the show had run its course, I was thinking, where is the franchise going to go from here? I mean, Universal certainly hasn't announced anything. And then I saw the Maxine trailer. I'm like, holy fuck!
I know.
They're putting Bates Motel in the Maxine universe.
Yeah, that's cool.
Go ahead. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. I'm on board. I can't wait for Maxine.
It looks so fucking good.
I can't wait for Maxine either.
Oh
and yes, God. Griffin, I love Death Sentence. That is my favorite Death Wish movie. Of all the Death Wish movies ever made, Death Sentence is my favorite with Kevin Bacon.
Yeah,
that's so good.
Damn right.
Revenge movies, like in general, fucking rock.
They do. And we also have to talk the Bernard Herrmann score.
Ooh.
Probably the most iconic score of all time. I know some people will say, Halloween, but I don't know. I think
Psycho.
Yeah.
Everybody knows it. Everybody knows.
Well, it's
that
score. It's you did that as a kid, right?
Yeah, it's just
everybody knows.
It's ingrained in our DNA at this point. but overall, I think a damn solid franchise. I mean, Richard Franklin, perfect choice to do that sequel. Even the third, and I will say, if you haven't seen it yet, Sam,
the sleazy psycho.
Yeah, they start to lose the the plot a little bit. It's fun.
And that's the Perkins directed one too.
Yes, yes, he directed that one.
Wait, does Norman like kill a nun and rape her, or
that
happens in Psycho 2 and Robert Bloch's Psycho 2?
Yeah,
this is just like
Little
they tried
lighter.
to follow the slasher formula.
Yeah,
to make a Psycho sequel,
but it's so obnoxious. I mean, like, I don't hate it, but it is a big step down from the first two films. Like a big step.
It is. It's the Hellraiser 3.
It really bothers me that there's no fucking twist. It is exactly what it says
Straight
it
up.
is. And why bother making a Psycho movie if you're not going to have that scene? It also the phone booth sequence. The phone booth sequence is
Jeff
not
Fahey, too.
the shower scene. Okay, it's just not.
No.
So yeah, I don't know.
Himself.
I appreciate and respect what Perkins was doing from a directorial standpoint, but his performance suffers because of it. That's the thing.
True.
I think visually he has a lot of cool ideas. He took the cue from Blood Simple, the Coen Brothers movie, which he actually showed his entire cast when they were doing Psycho 3. And he has a sense of humor in Psycho 3, which I appreciated well. I mean, Jeff Fahey has this total sleaze thug. You know?
I'll watch anything. If you can show me a movie he's in, I will watch it.
He is.
I love that guy. He's a Kim
best
level guy for me.
He's so good. He didn't have the career he should have. Body parts. Yeah, I mean,
he's awesome in Grindhouse.
Yeah, he just a really great character actor that never fully got his due. But yes, the Stephen King's Lawnmower Man.
There was a very pissed off Small Jonathan when he rented that movie because that was not what I thought I was going to get.
I was obsessed with like the virtual reality stuff at the time. So
I thought it was going to be a movie about a dude killing people with a lawnmower.
That's not even what the short story is about.
Yeah.
No,
I get it, but like as a kid, I'm like,
I don't.
Lawnmower Man.
Weirdest,
thank you.
It's the weirdest short story from King of that period going. I mean, there's just you got to understand. Like, there's nothing to tell a movie from that story on. Nothing.
Well, it got a sequel too. So
it's called Harley Davidson and the Lawnmower Man.
That's not a bad little movie.
Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man. I love it.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Mickey Rourke. Yeah,
it's one of those. Just from the childhood.
That was not to bring it back to wrestling, but I used to quote, "I am God" here when I used to do like just taunting shit. I don't know. I'm sorry. That was just one comment, Lauren. I promise. We're on Psycho. But I think they all, I don't know. I rewatched them all not too long ago. And man, overall, I mean, look, 4, you're getting a little dicey once you get to 4. But even that maybe has its moments.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Perkins, like that speech he gives in 2 about the cheese sandwiches.
Oh yeah,
so good. He and Meg Tilly hated each other, by the way. So
sadly,
really.
Sadly,
Why?
Perkins.
Why do I feel like it's her fault?
Fired, I think Perkins almost tried to get rid of her. Very, very sadly.
He did. Give me your sister, Jennifer. I can't handle you.
You got the worst Tilly available.
I don't know about that.
Jennifer over Meg all day.
I mean, I agree. I don't hate Meg Tilly, but I am Team Jennifer.
But do you think it would have been better to have the original choice in the Meg Tilly role, which was, believe it or not, Jamie Lee Curtis?
Oh, God.
I'm glad they didn't.
No.
How can you tell her apart from Anthony Perkins?
No, you couldn't.
Jamie Lee Curtis is not a great actress.
That is a fair thing to say. It really is.
Yeah.
Tell
It
that
is
to that
fair.
Participation Academy Award they gave her.
Yeah.
I love that movie, but what a
I do
weird
too.
thing.
She was not.
She was the
Like-
worst thing about that film. The
I-
worst
not
thing
even
in the
when
film.
you're thinking about who are we nominating from this movie. She's
Nominate The Rock. I mean, not the actor The Rock. I mean, The Rock. That was
The
in-
Rock.
The Rock.
Yeah.
The
The
Rock.
one on the right, not the left.
Give James Hong some love. I mean, you know,
There you go. There you
it's
go.
like 100 years old and still making movies.
Definitely.
I mean, the problem is like so many of these franchises have really, really bad installments, right? And Psycho doesn't have that. It doesn't have its actual doldrums, bottom of the barrel. But what it does have is like two separate franchises. Like the first is the first two films together, which work brilliantly together. And then there's the third film, which wants to do a thing, and the fourth film, which doesn't know what the fuck it wants to do. So it'll just do all of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, like the first two films are sacred ground, truly sacred grounds. I saw Psycho 2 in the theater. It was one of my first theatrical horror films. My parents had refused to take me to see Friday the 13th Part 3, so their consolation prize was Psycho 2.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it worked out better. But even taking my nostalgia out of it, Psycho 2 is an amazing film. It's the proper continuation of that story in every single way. I like how it was not afraid to be where horror was. Because there had to be a temptation to try and make a safer film that would appeal to fans of the 60s film, right? And horror just wasn't there anymore. You couldn't tell that story that a 60s retro throwback film would have been. I always thought the kill of the teenagers in the basement is straight out of Fulci. Straight. And there's even kind of a reference to Fulci in the movie. The knife through the mouth kill.
Oh god, that was brutal.
Is an inversion of the opening kill from House by the Cemetery. So I appreciate that they were smart enough at the time to not bow to the pressure to make the film too classy for where horror was at that moment. Now we look back and it seems perfect. Absolutely pitch perfect. Has some shocking elements to it, but so did the original in its time. So it all kind of works.
Can we talk about the ending though? What are your feelings on the ending of Psycho 2?
Which they ignore later.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate. But in the theater with my family, which was the only time I had my father, mother, and sister by my side in a movie theater in my lifetime. That's probably a lie. I think Jaws 3 was the other time. But it was certainly less than 3 times. I remember the scene after this film, the main plot has resolved, and Norman is down shoveling the coal. And which is a scene that was missing from like the original VHS print for some reason. But then he brings the shovel upstairs. And I remember my dad calling out in the theater because he was flabbergasted. Why the hell is he bringing the shovel up? And everyone laughed. And then when the climatic hit happens, like 3 different people in the theater screamed back at him, "That's why!" From different corners of the theater. I really like it. It's overly convoluted. And if you don't get that that's the joke, shame on you. It's not a dumb ending. It's not. The idea was, okay, instead of giving you the psychiatrist explanation sequence, we're going to give you something batshit insane. You know, Norman's real mom is going to show up real there. She was the killer and give a speech explaining everything. And then we're going to smack her on the head, just like we want to kill that psychiatrist in the first film, which is the only scene that stops that original film from being, in my opinion, a truly perfect film. So I love it. Love it. That Psycho 2 has a sense of humor that it gets ignored when people review it. There is some really beautiful gallows humor in that film.
Dennis Farina playing. Perfect sleazeball.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Why don't you just pick it up?
Yeah, just pick it up, Psycho.
Psycho.
Go ahead. The only downside of Psycho 2, I think, is Jerry Goldsmith's score. And there's something about it that's just off.
Ooh, Griffin's gonna fight you.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about how much you liked it.
Uh-oh. Fight. Let them fight.
Let them fight. Yeah, I mean, every time I sit down, like, I think this franchise sort of takes me back to that same feeling I would get as a kid. And I watch a lot of movies. Every once in a while, I'll feel that way about something. But I think the first two are amazing. 3's a lot of fun. Again, flawed, starts missing the point. But yeah, it holds up.
I'll tell you what it did well for me is I wasn't just thinking about the original movie the whole time I was watching. Like I wasn't just going, well, this is different than this because like I was just involved in this story.
Hey guys, hands off the guitar. Okay. Lorne.
It's absolutely fine for what it is.
It is.
I'm not sure there's like Jonathan, I love you, dude, but you're just like, but I was just invested in the story. I'm like, what story? A bunch of people go out to the hotel. He kills most of them, and it ends with him in a cop car.
We're talking about 3 now.
Yeah,
I'm talking about 2. My bad.
Okay.
I've been smoking weed.
I want to amend and retract my statements. We're good.
Yeah, no. That's what I liked about 2. Sorry, 3 is a whole other thing.
Yeah. I just wish there was something in the middle of 3 that threw you for a loop, and there's not.
Yeah, if it had just a cherry on top at the end, that could have been.
Another guest shows up at the hotel and he's a psychopath too.
Yeah.
I think I would definitely like one of the things that I noticed about the book that I took away from it though is in the beginning of that, they're kind of giving some background about Mary and talking about how she pretty much held down the house, right? While, and took care of her sick mother. And then, her sister went off to college and did all that, right? And she just stayed behind and took care of things. And it's like, there's an interesting juxtaposition between her and Norman, it's just differing paths. And when you go and watch the movie and she's and they're having that, the heart to heart about the traps we build, right before he slices and dices, that just kind of like took me back a little bit because it's like they're very similar people in some aspects.
Well, the original film and the original novel are both about the breaking of social contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So the social norms, this doesn't have. So the movie starts with that pan across the city, right? And we go to one window, and it could be any window that we could have picked, but we picked this window, so we're going to tell that story.
Yeah.
And we go into that window, and it's a woman who's sleeping with a married man. She's already from the first frame we see Mary, and she is breaking a certain social contract.
Sam Loomis isn't married though. He says ex-wife, he's paying her alimony, so it's like she hasn't remarried, so it's probably kind of a little like
okay.
It's gray area, I get it.
But he's also meeting in a hotel room in the middle of the day because social pressures would say it was inappropriate.
Yes.
So but then he needs money. So she breaks the next social contract, which is she steals from her employer. Her employer trusts her implicitly. He seems like kind of a scummy guy, but he trusts her implicitly. And I think you have to take yourself back a few decades for this to work completely, but that wasn't a really common situation. The amount of like women in the workplace that would have had the opportunity to commit the heist she commits is not great. The amount that her boss just trusts her with that much money blindly.
Mm-hmm.
And she still breaks that social contract, right? And then there's another aspect of it, which is that her sister, she doesn't even let her sister know what's going on. So there's another one on top of it. So she drives, and a very common theme symbolically in horror films is when characters drive out of their normal environments into another environment, they're actually going into their subconscious. I don't mean it literally in the film. The events happen in the film exactly as portrayed. It's not like just symbolism.
Yeah.
But on a thematic level, long drives into unfamiliar territory or drives into your true consciousness. And she comes across Norman, who seems normal, seems respectable, but his secret is he's also broken a social contract.
Yeah.
A pretty big one, right?
Yeah.
And that's his secret. So she's in her hotel room. She strips herself naked. She gets into her most vulnerable state possible. And of course, the proverbial roosters come home to roost.
Mm-hmm.
But they're both
they both exist in that same world of people who had an opportunity to make a choice, and they both made the worst choice, and they broke the fabric of what's acceptable in society.
Mhm.
Certainly one worse than the other, but both to a pretty pointed degree.
Yeah.
And so that, and the rest of the film is kind of like everyone kind of dealing with who Mary was more than who killed her.
Yeah, I mean, in the book, like, she doesn't tell Sam anything about this.
Correct.
She doesn't even tell him that she's going to Fairville to see him. Nothing.
So I think that both the novel and the screenplay do a really good job of encapsulating that without making it so on the nose that you need to understand how a thing is constructed in order to enjoy it. But it's all there. It's all constructed properly. And the scary thing is Psycho 2 does almost the same fucking thing. And we fall for it again because it's so well constructed. Norman Bates is asking for forgiveness, and the whole town is not willing to forgive him, except we meet this one person we think is willing to forgive him, and his salvation lies in the hands of this one person that he decides to trust. He trusts one person the same way Mary trusted him in the hotel. When that betrayal happens, it doesn't matter that she's already changed her mind about that betrayal. The die is cast. That betrayal forces him off the reservation. And although he is not the murderer of Psycho 2, except for one character.
Yeah.
It's inevitable then, because that same breaking of the moral code has occurred. It's a really real, that's why thematically it's so well joined to the first film, and it really works. The third film doesn't have that. The moral code's already broken. We're just watching it play out. And of course, the fourth film, by trying to over-explain the backstory, which is always an Achilles heel, it leaves you without any discovery on your own. And that means we have a film without mystery. And horror should never exist without mystery, because the unknown is what is scary. The moment when everything is laid before you, nothing is scary anymore.
Yeah.
There's my
well said.
And I just want to say that the whole trap dialogue, I don't think there's anything more iconic. I don't think there's been better dialogue written than that whole portion of the film. I just think is perfect. So yeah. There's a million things I could say about Psycho. I mean, I put it over Halloween. I know that's
easily.
probably not
Oh, yeah.
popular, but I really do. And I love Halloween. Just I think this is at the top of the mountain. And if you haven't checked it out, please do. And you might want to give Bates Motel a try. It's not quite on par with the Hannibal TV series, which I love. But
Season 3 of Hannibal was a hot mess.
I guess you had some issues with 3, but when it was good.
I enjoyed Hannibal. I mean, and I am looking forward to watching Bates Motel TV series once I get done with the movies.
Yeah, it gets pretty intense. You have to roll with it a little bit, but Highmore, I mean, I can see him just growing into Anthony Perkins. Like, it was perfect casting.
He's also on The Good Doctor, isn't he?
Yeah, I think some medical thing, yeah.
I'm just going to blame all this on Finding Neverland.
It's good stuff, but
I mean, do you guys have any idea where Universal is going to go with this franchise now? I mean, I know that the whole Maxine thing may be just a tip of the hat to it, but I mean, I've been wondering that for a couple of years now. Like, is the Psycho franchise officially dead, or is Universal having anything else that they might have up their sleeve?
Well, they'll do something. It's not dead. It's too iconic.
I'm sure they will. Yeah.
It's one of those ones. I don't want this, but maybe they would just do a direct sequel to 1. But 2, the sequel we have is damn so good.
Exactly.
I don't see the purpose in that. So
exactly.
But that's probably what they would do. in all honesty, or they'll just remake it again, not learn their lesson.
60 years past that movie, you couldn't do a direct people do it.
I can't believe that, you know, Danny Elfman did the score for the remake, and it's like the only decent thing about it.
I always say with that movie, it's like shot for shot. You just Anne Heche's butthole. That's like
you do see Anne Heche's butthole.
That's like, other than that, it's just like a weaker version of Psycho. So there's not a lot of point.
And you see Norman Bates masturbate to Anne Heche's butthole. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know what Van Zandt was thinking. I really don't know what he was thinking of that.
The Vince Vaughn casting, I used to defend only to the extent it's like, how can you recast Anthony Perkins? But when I watched that again, when we did a show on it years ago, he's not good. He's bad.
Wolf.
Yeah. He's really bad. And
I don't blame him for taking it, though. I mean,
no, but he was all wrong.
I mean, especially at that point in his career, like it was really early on. Had he done Clay Pigeons yet? Even
I think he did that the year before, which is a good movie. I like
he did that with Anne Heche too. Oh no, it was another movie.
Janine Garofalo was Clay Pigeons. Yeah.
Return to Paradise. That's a movie he did with Anne Heche. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I will say that unrelated in any practical sense, but there is a spiritual remake of Psycho that came out in 2020 from India. It's directed by a man named Miskin, who's kind of a subversive director in India, and it has nothing to do whatsoever with the story. It is called simply Psycho. It's meant as a tribute to what Hitchcock's film did for the industry, and it takes the press of what would it take for that to make that today and have that kind of impact today. And it is an excellent film. It's nothing like the original, and that's the whole point. If you want to continue Psycho, the best way to honor it is to make something as strong but as relevant to today. And not, I think that like a nostalgia trap won't even work, because 1960 was at this point. I don't want to even think about this. I mean, 60 years ago. Who's alive that's gonna have nostalgia for that release?
Yep.
80-year-olds. They're not showing up to your new horror film.
No,
not happening.
See, I think if you update it for a modern audience, it's now called Sociopath. And Norman Bates is just really passive aggressive and makes your life harder.
No. You gotta do malignant narcissist. That's the current buzzword.
You're right. Malignant narcissist. I knew narcissist was a buzzword right now.
Yeah, I mean, you could just call it narcissist. That's fine.
Narcissist. Yeah, you probably could.
I think.
And then it's just Lex Luger fucking posing for an hour and a half.
Christ, that's an old reference.
He carries around the mirror with him.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's a funny joke, and you'd appreciate it, Lauren, if you knew what we were talking about.
I'm pretty happy I don't.
Lauren, wait till you hear about the gobbledygooker.
Yep. We'll save that for Thanksgiving.
Some nights I cry myself to sleep.
Only some? We're not doing our jobs well.
Ooh,
well, the meth doesn't allow for tears every night.
Dries you out pretty bad.
Do we have any other questions for each other before we hit the 2-hour mark? Anything interesting?
I know everything I need to know. I've seen under Dan's hat.
You have?
Have you guys ever swapped hats?
What would happen?
I don't
know. Would you take on each other's personalities? Would Dan just start doing fat bong rips all the time?
Yeah, Dan's
there you go.
Pothead. Just
We'll just play each other at the beginning of the next episode.
Yeah.
Everybody will just be cast as each other.
Honestly, like when the Halloween episode comes up for Regionfree this year, I think we all need to go as different cast members.
There we go.
Yeah, we can make that happen.
I've already dressed up as Lorne once, so.
Do you do the bald cap? Do you get all into it?
I don't think I have the voice down right. I don't have the tone.
Oh, my fucking horrible voice. No one has down right.
Lauren could do me. Get a big blonde wig.
I have a big blonde wig somewhere. It's probably not within arm's reach.
Like curly blonde or long straight blonde, or what kind of blonde are we talking?
That whatever. Greg Valentine. That's
There you go.
what I'm going for. I'm trying to play Greg Valentine in a biopic.
I've met him a few times. I don't think he's that interesting for a biopic.
Hey, you never know. You never know what's going to pop up. You got to be ready.
So, are you guys excited for anything coming up? Lauren, we did talk Civil War before a little bit, and you've got to see that because I'm really curious to get your take. But just in general, in theaters coming up, what are you guys excited for?
Oh, the Fall Guy. The Fall Guy. All the way. Give me the Fall Guy.
It looks decent.
I will be seeing that one. I'm interested in that Boy Kills World. That looked pretty fun.
Ooh, okay.
Of course, Maxine.
I'm going to hopefully see Bade Me and Chode Man, Big Man, Small Man this weekend.
Chode Man?
Chote, not
okay.
Chode.
Small man, but very wide.
Which is going to be insane because they always are. Other than that, I mean, I think I'm excited for, like, honestly, what you guys are excited for, Maxine. Although I'm trying to be, like, very level-headed about Maxine because, like, I think that the hype for this movie is so high that it almost seems inevitably going to disappoint some people. I don't know. It just, the hype is really, really out of control with this.
I think Pearl's the better. I like X a lot. I don't think
Pearl's the better.
Yeah. I think X, again, I'm a fan, but I think it's just a little bit overhyped. So I don't know. Maxine could be anything.
Well, look, can I ask a question? Like, because anything at all critical of Maxine is going to be like going to get you thrown off the cliff. But when I saw that trailer, what it's most strongly reminded me of was Brian De Palma's Body Double.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Hollywood, the porn, the pop music, the time period it's set in. I mean, I really strongly feel like that was probably the spirit animal of the production, and if that's the case, I think I'm going to end up very happy. But I think a lot of the X fans are not.
Yeah.
Well, you can't expect X or Pearl either one. I think is the most important thing.
I mean,
Hopefully
Pearl's damn different from X.
And I would hope that Maxine is different from both of those things.
That would be great. Like Pearl is wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How cool is it that, like, right now we've got multiple creature features? You know, we got Sting, we've got Arcadian, we've got the Godzilla Kong. We're just getting everything in theaters right now. Like, there's just so much to check out. There's one, I don't know if any of you guys know anything about it. I haven't gotten to see it yet. Exhumed, which is a Korean horror film. I gotta track that
trailer
down.
for it.
Yeah, I have to check that out. I mean, we're getting, like, everything. The genre's pretty strong, and dare I say, I think we're not even halfway through the year, and I think it's a stronger year than last. I've already seen several things that I'm a big fan of. So
yeah, last year was rough.
You had to dig a little, but this year I feel like I'm getting hit with really good shit more often than not. So.
If the reviews are good, I will go see Feed Alvarez's Alien Romulus in the theater. I'm keeping my expectations in check on that. I would like to see another good Alien movie in the theater, but it's been a while.
I get a vibe that they're giving most fans what they want. Versus, I love Prometheus. I am one of those guys. I'm a big
I did
fan.
too. Yeah.
So I think they're taking this back to basics. It's hard to tell from the trailer. It looks like it'll be fun. Yeah.
The only thing that worries the hell out of me. Well, two things that worry the hell out of me. One, CGI facehuggers look like CGI facehuggers.
Yeah.
They don't look fleshy and like organic, which I have a problem with. They look like video game sprites. They really do. The second thing is the age of the cast is potentially a big issue. I don't need alien babies. And I worry that the other problem with that is if they make those kids appeal to today's youth, in 5 years, it's going to be laughable.
Yeah.
Because that's how that works.
It has the star of Civil War, Kaylee Spaney.
She's all over the place.
Yeah.
She's
Very
about
good
to
at
be all over
that.
the place, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would love to see another great alien film. Obviously, as much as I give certain installments, it is the most creative ongoing endeavor in the horror genre. It just is. I kind of and I understand that light spoilers. We are going to get finally the next evolution of the aliens, so we are going to finally leave the fucking Cameron codified version behind. Whether they'll have the balls to stick to that in future films, I don't know. But that is something I've wanted to happen a long time. Depends how it's done, though. We all remember The Newborn, right? The Newborn sucks.
Yeah. I'm hopeful. I feel it's open for it to succeed because we've already hammered out some of our biggest blockbusters this year. It's going to be a weird summer because, they've already had Dune 2, Godzilla. Yeah, I mean, and Deadpool 3 soon, right? So they're getting out most of the big summer movies before summer. So Alien Romulus might surprise. Ooh.
Yep.
Is Psycho the most influential horror film ever made? What do you guys think?
I can't think of an alternative right now. I think it might happen.
It's not a bad choice. I mean, if you had to pick.
It changed everything.
It did.
Yeah, I know we had Peeping Tom at the same time, but I mean, Psycho.
Influence, you can't compare the two.
Yeah. You can't compare influence.
So I'm going to argue that perhaps Night of the Living Dead had a bigger influence in changing the viscerality of the genre.
I agree. Yeah.
I would hazard to say that we don't quite yet know whether Halloween's influence is a more defining stamp in the time period. But actually what I would say is, if you let me cheat the question a little bit, the dual releases of Frankenstein and Dracula in 1931 change horror entirely from a genre that was an unknown commodity into the core of film. So if you're willing to let me have those two films as a moment in time, because they come out within 7 months of each other.
Yeah.
But as an individual film, Psycho has to be in that conversation. I may think Night of the Living Dead is more important simply because of how it presents horror without the trappings of a conventional narrative style. Because basically, Psycho is told very much in the same way that most 50s and 60s films are. Night of the Living Dead is not. It breaks the traditional narrative entirely, and that schism was what made people say back in the day, it's shot like a documentary. Today we look at it and we're like, no, it's not. But at the time, no one had seen something that direct and impassioned. So Night might get the edge for me, and maybe in time, for probably bad reasons, we might consider Halloween may emerge as more influential. Yeah, but I wouldn't be unhappy with Psycho being the movie either.
Yeah. Yeah, any one of those movies you mentioned, just, I wish I could be somebody in the period that just walked into the theater and got hit with a ton of bricks out of nowhere. Frankenstein probably really was the most shocking at that time. That might seem weird to people now, but I mean,
Drowning a little girl is a big thing.
Huge.
It's still controversial to kill children on film.
It is. It's still a taboo when we're going on almost a century later, and I can't imagine. I can see people that had to have passed out, that had to, go home and be just mortally wounded by what they saw on screen.
And the fairly overt sexuality of Dracula, which is easy to overlook today.
No.
Post-code,
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. You're not going to get men nibbling on women's necks wearing nightgowns in every film of the period. That's for sure.
I mean, 30 years later, people were freaking out about Elvis shaking his hips. So, you can imagine.
Lugosi, honestly, is probably a bigger sex symbol for his time. It just has a negative connotation, but whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's tough. That it's always, whenever people talk about single movies as bellwethers, especially in this genre, it can be very tough because you could argue Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Although I'd say that the influence is more a matter of breaking down taboos than it is actually influencing how films look or act or feel. There's a lot of movies, and frankly, if we were a bunch of Japanese cats sitting around, kneeling on the floor instead of sitting around a table, we'd be saying, yeah, absolutely. So
8 years after the bombs fell, consider that, and watch that movie. Wow.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think this is a genre that gives us a lot of important films and influential films beyond its borders. It's impossible to watch any of those cop shows today, any of the police procedurals, and not see the influence of the slasher film. Impossible. Hell, you can't watch television commercials, honestly, without eventually coming across something that was influenced by a horror film. So, I mean, as far as people love to denigrate the genre, but man, does it have a wide shadow.
It does, and I think it's going to be owning the box office more and more as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to get to the point whereas Hollywood looks at the horror genre and says, how can they make these films for $12 million that bring in 50? How do they do that? Maybe we should do that. Because what makes it? You're making a fucking romantic comedy. Why the fuck do you need to spend $60 million?
No, it makes no sense to me.
No.
You can make a kick-ass action movie for $10 million. A lot of people would say no, but there's ways to do it. Shoot it other places. There's a lot of ways.
So, researching the for the Jai Hind show I put on my channel, I was trying to come up with the exact budget for Takad, which is a really tough thing because it's not a domestic film. It's a private company. It's very different of what's reported over there. But everywhere seems to have it pointed and just pegged somewhere around $2.5 million US. $2.5 million for that movie, which is a lot more beautiful than anything that we've put out in the action genre and domestically.
That would be $100 million movie.
Easily.
I mean, a lot more than $2 million.
The coal fire war scene, it probably cost $100 million.
Well, we were talking, I guess it wouldn't have been on air, but maybe in one of the chats about Ivan Zuccone.
Oh my God.
And what he's able to do, Wrath of Crows. And I mean, I don't know what you would put the budget. I can't imagine he's got more than $10,000-$20,000. I mean, I'm maybe not even that much. And what he's been able to do with that kind of money. Granted, I guess, in Europe you can access more interesting locations than we can, but
what a concept, right? Find a really interesting place, spend the time to make sure you're framing the sequence properly, score it till it screams, and you have a movie.
I'm rooting for companies like A24, even Civil War, that was $50 million. Obviously, a little more ambitious.
They're quickly becoming not such a small studio.
No, well, and I was happy. Like, I seriously doubted from the director that we were going to get a generic action movie, but he had something to say. It was more thrilling because when we do get into the action portion of the film, I'm like, this is hitting way harder than, something.
The man's never had a flop. Alex Garland, writing or directing, I like his entire catalog.
Oh, Annihilation is excellent.
Annihilation, Sunshine. Good God, Sunshine's fucking awesome, and it's kind of lost in the shuffle back there. And was it 06, 07?
Yeah,
fantastic movie.
Yeah, excellent. And I hope Civil War does well, because again, if you're hesitant to watch it, if you think it's going to be some preachy political thing, it's not, guys. And I have issues with all sorts of different political parties nowadays.
Well, that's smart.
It's just,
it's a thought exercise. Don't make it about what's actually happening. We'll find out what's going to happen there soon enough.
Sure.
Yeah. This is about more than that. This is not trying to hit you over the head.
Well, it's splitting up the United States in a way I don't think people thought they would have, right? Like it's not North versus South. Now there's 4 sides to this thing.
And just journalistic integrity, and there's a lot going on in that movie. There really is. I hope people will see it and not try and find some line in the movie that they think
they're going to.
I'm sure they will, but I don't know. It's a good time to be a fan of movies right now. I feel very enthusiastic and just
tumultuous times do bring out some pretty decent art.
I think we're kind of there. Like,
hopefully music's getting ready to have a resurgence at some point. That'd be cool.
Not so much music, in my opinion, but I'm not. I don't know as much. It doesn't seem like I hear a lot of new stuff that I enjoy, but we'll get there.
As we leave you tonight, please remember this channel is going to stay up, but as a repository for this season. However, to join us in 2 months, you'll need to subscribe to the Visited by Voices Network and join us there. If you please do us a favor, please leave comments under this video, making it clear to people who perhaps didn't catch the video or take a little while to get back with us and watch it, that where we'll be found. And any thoughts you have about the season, please throw them at us. Even the bad stuff. We love hearing bad stuff. Jeff, the intern, needs something to do, so he's going to respond to all the new email.
Oh, there'll be some fun comments, I can tell you.
Absolutely. Any final words, guys?
I gotta pee.
Then you should pee.
We'll end on that.
Don't do it right here.
That was the same shit as the last time.
Well, you picked the last one, and you didn't like the last one.
You didn't like the last one? But you were laughing the whole time.
Yeah, because it was ridiculous.
Ridiculous? That's a classic.
I'm not really into all the weird cousin shit that was going on.
You lied to me.
You picked this one. You picked this one. Cousin shit.